In the intricate fabric of human relationships, conflict emerges as an inevitable constant, a force as natural as change itself. Far from being an anomaly to eradicate, it constitutes the symptom of diversity that, when addressed skillfully, can become the most powerful engine of innovation and collective growth. True mastery in conflict resolution does not lie in the artificial suppression of differences, but in the alchemical ability to turn the friction of conflicting perspectives into creative energy. Contemporary social psychology has demystified the simplistic view that categorized conflicts as mere communication failures. Longitudinal research reveals that deep disagreements most often arise when all parties involved have valid arguments from their respective frames of reference. This understanding marks a turning point. Resolving conflicts no longer means declaring a winner and a loser, but building conceptual bridges that allow transition between seemingly irreconcilable cognitive universes. At the core of this skill lies a fundamental paradox. The most effective conflict resolvers are those who can fully immerse themselves in each perspective without losing their ability to mediate objectively. Like a translator between different cultural languages, they must master the codes of each belief system without getting trapped in any one of them. This balance requires what conflict theorist Kenneth Cloak calls radical empathy, the ability to feel with the other without necessarily agreeing with them. Applied neuroscience studies show that during this process, neural networks associated with theory of mind and those linked to cognitive control are activated simultaneously. A unique brain synchronization that explains why this skill is as demanding as it is valuable. Organizations that have institutionalized cultures of constructive conflict resolution exhibit surprisingly similar patterns. Research from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology through its Organizational Learning Center identified that these entities do not avoid conflict but develop organizational muscle to transform it into added value. Their leaders understand that, when managed with emotional intelligence and methodological rigor, conflict can boost group performance by up to 40%, according to productivity and creativity metrics. The key lies in creating psychologically safe spaces where differences can be expressed before they become irreparable fractures. Nonviolent communication, developed by Marshall Rosenberg, offers a profound framework for this process. More than a technique, it constitutes a philosophy of interaction that replaces the language of judgment with that of universal human needs. When conflicting parties manage to articulate not only what they reject, but also what they truly desire at fundamental levels, security, recognition, autonomy, purpose, a surprising common ground often emerges. Effective neuroscience confirms that this approach reduces activation of the amygdala, associated with defensive responses, and stimulates the prefrontal cortex, linked to creative problem solving. However, authentic conflict resolution transcends mediation manuals. It requires what the philosopher Martin Buber called the I-thou dialogue, that human encounter where we stop treating the other as an object of our strategy and recognize them as a valid interlocutor in all their complexity. In highly politicized organizational contexts, this capacity for mutual humanization makes the difference between superficial solutions and lasting transformations. The most enriching conflicts are those that do not limit themselves to negotiating immediate interests, but challenge the underlying mental frameworks. Chris Argyris's pioneering work on double-loop learning shows how teams that learn to confront not only their actions, but also their foundational assumptions develop a resilience far superior in the face of adversity. In these cases, conflict ceases to be an obstacle and becomes the crucible where collective intelligence is forged. In the digital age, where dehumanized interactions multiply the possibilities of misunderstanding, these skills acquire renewed urgency. Virtual conflicts have peculiar characteristics: absence of nonverbal cues, perception of anonymity, and a dangerous tendency toward rapid escalation. Pioneering organizations are responding with protocols that combine the best of technology with the ancient wisdom of face-to-face dialogue, recognizing that certain tensions can only be resolved in this sacred space of shared presence. The true art of building bridges amidst chaos does not consist of eliminating differences, but in orchestrating them. Like in a musical composition, Well-resolved dissonances produce a richer harmony than mere repetition of consonant notes. The most vibrant organizational cultures are those that have learned this counterintuitive lesson. Conflict skillfully managed is not the enemy of collaboration, but its most powerful ally. In a world of increasing complexity, this skill ceases to be optional and becomes the cornerstone of sustainable collective progress.